Okay, so what I'm going to try to do in this video is describe my condition or experience as best I possibly can. I know how weird and bizarre this is, but I just have to get it out. I've dealt with it forever, and I feel the need to communicate what it's like. So I am going to define, to the best of my ability, what exactly I mean when I say I have a blank mind, or that my mind is blank. I'll start with what I'll call the resting state. Just kind of like when you're doing nothing or just chilling. It's so basic and fundamental that it's really hard to describe. So, in a normal mind, there's stuff going on. Uh, Images, snippets of memories, bits of songs, random thoughts, whatever. Stuff is, popping in and out of your head. But in my mind, there's no inner monologue, barely any conscious thought. It's just empty and void. If you can just picture like gray, the color gray, that's about what it's like. Like if I'm just sitting there and staring at the wall, that's it. I'm just sitting there looking at the wall like a zombie. And this isn't just for some of the time, this is for every waking second of my life. Now I'm going to describe the active state, or when there's internal or external stimulation. For instance, when I try to picture someone's face, it's just blank or gray. I can't recall any details. I can't conjure up anything, really. It's just empty. Now, when most people I know read a book, they get at least some degree of stimulation, even if it's not a vivid mental movie or whatever. Most people I know get something, especially if it's a book they're reading for pleasure. But no matter what I'm reading, I try to focus, and then it's just like my mind shuts down. It almost hurts after a few seconds. And when I can focus for, several minutes at most, it's just words. It's just gray. No images, no imagination or anything. It's just words going through my head, really. Kind of meaningless. Now, barring reading, there really isn't anyone I know who doesn't get stimulation from like electronic entertainment, like television or movies or whatnot. But even when I'm playing a video game, watching a TV show or a YouTube video, this applies to pretty much everything. I try to focus, but my mind just kind of shuts off and hurts after a couple seconds. And bear in mind, I'm a pretty big nerd, and I love fantasy and sci-fi and anime. And it's almost impossible for me to sit through like even one episode. Like with anime, they're like 20 minutes long, and I have to watch an episode in spurts of 5 minutes and then take a break. So, whatever I do, regardless of how, simple or complex the mental activity may be, it's like I try to do something, I try to focus, and then there's some sort of block, and then my mind just returns to nothing. This leaves me in a pretty dismal place. I spend most of my days just waking up, trying to focus on something, and I can't. I move from one thing to the other, mostly just random stuff on the internet for literally a few seconds of time. Maybe a couple seconds of a YouTube video or a few sentences of an article. Really, the only thing that can occupy me is the most extreme form of constant novelty, like Reddit or Tumblr. I just view as many images really quickly as I can, and that manages to pass the time somewhat well, but I can only do it for so long before my head starts to hurt and I have to stop. So then I just do nothing. I'll just try and sleep or lay there and stare at the wall. It's pretty agonizing, and my days stretch on for what seems like forever. And it's nearly impossible for me to socialize because my brain retains almost no information. I can't remember names. I can never think of anything to say because there's nothing in my head, and literally nothing happening in my life. I couldn't function in school with my mind like this. I would sit for hours going over flashcards and literally forget what I had just read as soon as I flipped the card over. I can't really work because I mess up too much and I can't remember stuff or focus. I can barely even remember what day it is or the date, much less anything else. And when I drive places, I constantly get lost unless it's somewhere I've been many times because I can't remember street names or even have a basic mental map of where I am. So, in summary, I'm pretty much the least functional and most dysfunctional person I know of. If you can relate to anything I've said, please leave a comment in the video or send me an email. I'll put my email in the description or put it on the screen as well. But yeah, I know how crazy this sounds. I know how crazy I probably am, but thanks for watching.